Welcome to @Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Let's get a refresh on the top Arizona news of the week.
The Arizona Department of Public Safety rolled out Operation No Need for Speed a couple weeks ago to help slow down speeders on the highways. Reporter Nicole Gutierrez spent the morning with DPS trooper in an unmarked vehicle for a closer look.
Drivers across the valley are used to seeing highway patrol vehicles on the highway and tend to slow down. But with Operation No Need for Speed, troopers will be in an unmarked vehicle trying to catch speeders.
But people are late. People are, rushing to get places, and they make that decision to speed.
I was just getting around.
That's why we have these unmarked cars out here to kind of catch them and hopefully slow them down. So you're gonna get a ticket for the speed, okay? You need to slow down, okay? That's 20 miles an hour over the speed limit.
According to Trooper Schmidt, driving an unmarked vehicle helps pace speeders.
It would be tough for me to pace somebody in a marked car just driving down the road like this. You don't usually have somebody that just passes you. A lot of people, they don't even realize that what's going on behind them. They pay attention to everything that's going on in front of them. She gets close, goes into the HOV lane to pass them.
Vehicle number 2 is gone. Vehicle number 1 not getting down there. Which says they're not needing a report, so you can have that patrol unit 22. They have a 92697 at the gas station.
So we'll stop her. Hello, Trooper Schmidt with the Highway Patrol. I'm following you at 87 miles an hour.
The No Need for Speed crackdown is a zero-tolerance campaign, but Schmidt says that troopers aren't on the highway just to cite drivers.
We can go a day with no tickets, and we can go a day with a lot of tickets. We can go a day with warnings, some of each. There is no requirement as far as quotas.
Schmidt says that patrolling the highway is about maintaining safety.
I would say speed is definitely a factor into how gruesome the accidents can be. I don't want to see a kid get hurt. I don't think anybody wants to see a kid get hurt, and those are just not scenes that you want to go to. And the scenes you don't want to drive by and see.
Although DPS uses unmarked cars to catch speeders, Trooper Schmidt says that you can be the extra eyes on the road. You can call the Arizona Department of Public Safety if you see any unusual or aggressive driving on the freeways. In Phoenix, Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
ASU's victory over rival U of A did little to save Coach Todd Graham's job.
But who's next in line to lead the Sun Devils? Cronkite News reporter Tara Pinkley is live in the Media Center.
Some potential candidates to replace Todd Graham include former Texas A&M head coach former head coach Kevin Sumlin, Derek Mason from Vanderbilt, and Pep Hamilton from Michigan. Ray Anderson is setting a high bar for whoever is the school's next football coach. Arizona State Athletic Director Ray Anderson announced Sunday that Todd Graham was out as ASU's head football coach. He said his expectations are far higher than the 7-5 regular season the Sun Devils produced this year.
We should be top 3 in the Pac-12, in my opinion, every season. There's no reason we shouldn't be every year top 15 nationally if we do what we're supposed to do.
Speculation had been mounting for the better part of the last 3 seasons, in which Graham led the Sun Devils to an 18-19 record and struggled to recruit in the Valley and in Southern California, 2 regions known for producing high-level talent. Graham compiled a 46-31 overall record in his 6 seasons at ASU.
I'm really proud of what we've done here. We have won every day I've been here, and I am so looking forward to seeing the great things ahead for this program.
Moving forward, Anderson not only stressed his lofty expectations, but said he has a vision for what the next head coach will bring.
You certainly have to have someone, in my view, that's dynamic, that is articulate, who can really sell the vision, not just of Sun Devil football, but Sun Devil athletics, ASU, the institution.
Anderson made clear that it is, quote, absolutely necessary to have a new head coach in place before the early signing period ends in less than 4 weeks. Meanwhile, Graham and his staff will remain on to coach ASU in its bowl game, which will be announced next week. When asked what he would have done differently in his time at Arizona State, Todd Graham joked, saying he would have won all the games he lost. Otherwise, he has no regrets. In the media center, Tara Pinkley, Cronkite News.
Arizona Senator John McCain says President Trump's actions at a ceremony honoring Navajo code talkers Monday was, quote, an insult to their sacrifice. Cronkite News reporter Bailey Vogt sat down with the president of the Navajo Nation today to discuss Trump's controversial use of the name Pocahontas.
You were here long before any of us were here, although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
That was the president yesterday at an event that was supposed to honor Navajo code talkers, but critics say Trump's language instead disrespected the code talkers and their sacrifice.
Some of them lost limbs. Some of them were thrown into war camps and things like that, but they survived all of that, and they're standing there in the Oval Office as war heroes. And they should have been respected.
Navajo Nation President Russell B. Gay said that not only did the Pocahontas comment disrespect the code talkers, it also turned a historical Native American figure into an insult.
She had a role in bringing two cultures together, and to turn that Native American woman into being a racial slur was very highly inappropriate.
Begay said President Trump should not have dragged the code talkers into his feud with Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Trump started calling her Pocahontas when she claimed Native American heritage.
That belongs on the campaign trail. It did not belong in the Oval Office where war heroes are being honored.
After code talker Peter McDonald finished an extended introduction in the Oval Office, Trump jokingly handed over his prepared speech, saying McDonald had said it all. Begay wishes Trump hadn't.
He should have delivered that and stayed with whatever was written in that speech.
We contacted the White House today, which declined to comment any further on the president's remark. In Washington, Bailey Vogt, Cronkite News.
A plan to add a prison employment center and housing for former inmates is being questioned. Maricopa County Supervisor Steve Gallardo called Governor Doug Ducey's proposal to put people who violate release conditions at the county jail in South Phoenix environmental racism. The proposal has been in the works for months, but community members, business owners, and elected officials are slamming it today. Meanwhile, Uber is bringing new hope to former inmates with rides for jobs. Cronkite News reporter Nkiriko Marinia is live in downtown Phoenix.
Governor Doug Ducey recently announced this pilot program, which is only one part of the plan to ensure that former inmates stay out of prison. Jamonte Kelly finished a 25-month prison sentence earlier this month.
I was mixed with the wrong crowd, per se. I went to jail for fraud.
While in prison, Kelly secured a job with R&L Carriers in Phoenix, and thanks to Uber for Jobs, a pilot program funded by both Uber and the state, he hasn't had any problems getting to work. The governor's office says this program is an attempt to reduce recidivism.
Recidivism is a public safety concern. So the same individuals are committing the same crimes. So number one, we think reducing recidivism makes our community safer.
How many times have you been in prison?
3 times. This is my 3rd.
Missy Robledo believes this time will be her last, thanks to the skills she's learned at the employment center that opened this year. This is another push by the state to reduce recidivism.
It's helped me with building my resume, and I just have the confidence and the self-esteem to go back out there and try to find a better job.
The top 8 risk factors for recidivism include employment and employability skills.
Karen Hellman works closely with the 3 employment centers at different prisons in the state. When inmates are 60 days away from release, they are eligible to go through the center where they learn things like resume building and interviewing skills.
They need to feel comfortable explaining their background, being honest about their background, but also being able to tell an employer why, even despite their background, they are still a potential good employee.
Jessica Rhodes went through the program and was released from prison yesterday.
I have a job lined up already too when I get out. I'll be starting at Waste Management. I start the Monday I get out, which would be the day after I get out. And I'm also going to go back to school at the same time.
Now, both Uber and the state contributed $5,000 to the project and say that it will continue to run until the $10,000 runs out. Live in downtown Phoenix, and Kiriko Marania, Cronkite News.
The firing of Rose comes after weeks of new allegations against politicians, entertainers, and other journalists. Cronkite News reporter Sydney Eisenberg is looking into the challenges faced in all workplaces when dealing with sexual harassment policies and claims.
Harvey Weinstein, Roy Moore, Senator Al Franken, just a few of the names currently facing allegations of sexual harassment. Now, add Michigan Representative John Conyers to the list. BuzzFeed reported Monday that Conyers' office paid a woman more than $27,000 under a confidentiality agreement to settle a harassment complaint. Teresa Marzoff, owner of Culture Engineered, a human relations consulting firm, says those claims are not a new phenomenon, and each one must be looked into.
And also be sensitive to the fact that questioning can sometimes be hard for that person. It's very emotional, whatever they're sharing with you. So block out time, uninterrupted time.
However, questioning someone does not always go over well.
You know, I've had several conversations with leaders, and they immediately are upset that their integrity is being questioned, and who isn't?
Marzoff says preventing sexual misconduct in the workplace takes time.
A lot of companies just hit a handbook first day and you never talk about it again, or you only hear about it when you're in trouble. That should be really something, if you have a handbook or maybe just a core set of values, should be accessible all the time and something frequently revisited.
Records from the U.S. Office of Compliance show Congress has used $17 million of taxpayer money to settle discrimination suits since 1997. That encompasses all kinds of discrimination suits, not just sexual harassment. But that figure could be higher since it wouldn't include severance payments. In Phoenix, Sydney Eisenberg, Cronkite News.
A popular Christmas light show has pulled the plug. Reporter Sydney Eisenberg shows us how an Arcadia homeowner says the city of Phoenix is being the Grinch to his Christmas.
Off the corner of Calle Feliz and Calle Tuberia, one home is no longer feeling the Christmas spirit. Lee Sapanik has been decorating his Arcadia home with Christmas lights for more than 30 years, but this year he won't be putting up his display. Sapanik says he was notified in October that the city had received complaints over safety and traffic concerns surrounding his light display, including tour buses blocking driveways. Neighbor Dan Harris says he's worried about his children and the increase in traffic.
You know, I have had safety concerns, and I have spoken with a few neighbors about that, but you know, that's why we walk them down here and we walk them back home.
In a statement, the city of Phoenix says this is not an issue between the homeowner and the city, but between Sapanik and his neighbors. The statement goes on to say there are no regulations against people putting up lights. The city was trying to mediate the neighbors' complaints, but Sapanik says enough is enough.
Now the house that used to light up the block has now gone dark.
It wasn't worth the risk to spend 2 months to put up my display and then have the same people complain, and I know they're going to do it, and then have the city come here and tell me I can't continue.
Now the Goldwater Institute and Rose Law Group are helping Sapanik fight to turn his lights back on.
We don't think that the city should be engaging in this sort of behavior for people who just want to celebrate the holiday season.
They took the complaints of 2 people against the wishes of thousands of people that come here.
In an email to Sapanik from City Manager Ed Zerker, he again stated that the city doesn't want to regulate the display. Sapanik is not letting the situation dim his Christmas spirit.
Because my house is black, I decided to take all my lights, talk to all my neighbors on my street, and ask them if they had a problem with me decorating their homes. And I've since now done 10 homes.
In Phoenix, Sydney Eisenberg, Cronkite News.
Sapanik hopes to be able to return to his normal display by next year. He also plans on continuing to decorate his neighbors' houses. Hitting the gym can sometimes be intimidating for women.
That's why women's-only workout facilities are becoming a popular place for women to feel comfortable in the gym. Cronkite News reporter Tim Johns was at a women's-only boxing gym in Arcadia. Tim, what's the draw there?
The women who work out here tell me they felt intimidated at bigger gyms and just wanted a place where they could exercise and be themselves. This is Jabs, a ladies-only boxing gym that teaches women of all skill levels how to box as a way to work out.
It is a really good workout. For 45 minutes, it's solid, running, jumping, hitting, punching. You relieve stress, you relieve everything. You just come in and you let loose.
Melissa De La Rosa has been boxing at Jabs for just under a year. For her, Jabs is the perfect place to work out because its women's-only facility is accommodating to her personal needs.
I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I can't work out uncovered around men. So I come here because I can uncover because it's all only women.
And De La Rosa isn't alone. Statistics show that more women now have fitness memberships than men, and that women's-only fitness is the fastest growing sector of the fitness industry overall. Josette Rosine is the owner of Jabs Arcadia. She says that there are many reasons why women are increasingly wanting to work out with just other women.
There's no intimidation factor. They can come in, they know somebody's not gawking at them, or somebody's not looking at, maybe they might feel like they're doing it wrong.
And for De La Rosa, she says that the environment that Jabs creates ensures that she won't be going anywhere anytime soon.
I'm gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna be here until I can't come anymore. I love this.
Feeling the burn, one punch at a time.
Turn on HGTV and you're sure to see people flipping houses. And that trend is going strong here in Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Erica Arrington spoke to local real estate experts to find out what it takes not to flop with your flip.
You could say there's a house flipping frenzy going on here. Our state is one of the best places to flip a house, according to a Wallet Hub report. And those shows you watch on cable are forcing flippers to do the job right.
We have a newer housing stock to begin with, so the houses themselves aren't as old as houses in the Midwest and on the East Coast.
Marty Boardman fixes and flips homes here in the Valley and says that it is a very competitive market since buyers know what goes into a proper flip.
With the proliferation of these house flipping reality TV shows, people are up on the latest design trends and styles, so they want to see that your house looks like the house they saw on HGTV the night before, and they want to know that the rehab was done right, and they can tell when the rehab was done right or when it was done wrong.
According to Tina Tamboer, senior analyst for the Cromford Report, which tracks the Phoenix housing market, flippers are able to buy homes for around $170,000 and then resell them after renovations for around $210,000.
That's the market the fix and flip investor is catering to. Somebody who wants a move-in ready home within $100,000 to $300,000. They're very, very active, almost exclusively in that.
When it's a seller's market, it's great for fix and flip investors because when your house is done, there's going to be a buyer ready to buy it.
And our great climate also attracts a lot of buyers.
People from the Midwest, from the East Coast, from Canada, they want to buy houses here in Phoenix and live here. So it's an attractive market for all types of investors.
In the real estate market, for a home to be considered a flip, the home must be purchased, flipped, and sold all within a 6-month period. Erica Arrington, Cronkite News.
Arizona ranks 5th worst in the nation for youth homelessness, but one program in Arizona is working to improve that number.
Reporter Drew Marine takes us to Tucson, where the Home Office serves as a safe space for children who may not always have a place to call home.
Only a few months into her freshman year, and Old Main has already become a favorite place on campus for Kennedy Griffin. Like thousands of others her same age, Kennedy's path has led here, to the University of Arizona.
Something that we're morally required to do.
But for Kennedy, the journey to campus was different than most. A learning experience of another kind.
So then I moved in with my grandma after my mom died. And then my dad was around for a minute. And then when I was 7, I think it was just a lot for him. So then he kind of dipped.
Without a traditional family life.
So it's been me, grandma, dog.
The 18-year-old began searching for help to break the cycle of poverty and homelessness.
If your family makes this much income, we can help you with scholarships and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking and I'm oh, I don't fit here because I live in a, one-parent home. But my grandma was a nurse at times, so she was exceeding the amount. So I'm I can't afford to go to college then.
The nonprofit Youth on Their Own not only helps students financially, where they also give actively enrolled students access to 10 pounds of food a week, thanks to an on-site mini mall, complete with canned food, cereal, clothes, and personal items like toothbrushes and tampons.
They really feel like they finally have a person who's in their corner, who actually cares whether or not they go to school or cares whether or not they do well.
Yodel did more than support a teen, like they supported a family.
That's how 19-year-old Serena La Madrid was able to take care of 3 siblings.
A 5-year-old, a little baby. I hardly saw her because I was always working. If not working, I was in school. And I pretty much only saw her to go to sleep, or if not, in the morning to take her to school.
Hearing how can we help you is the best thing to hear in the whole entire world.
The nonprofit has given almost $700,000 in stipends in exchange for good grades and attendance.
Spanish and French are the main language courses available in most Arizona school districts. One Valley High School is looking to change that by recognizing American Sign Language as a world language.
And there is no ASL program for in Deer Valley School District, so this is the first one so far.
Like any new program, Deer Valley's new sign language class started out a little rough, especially since the instructor herself is deaf.
And it's been initiated, and so far it's been wonderful, and the students want to learn.
We only had an interpreter the first 3 days, so that was really hard. As soon as she left, I was like, how is this all gonna work?
I think it's better learning from the source because they use it every day.
After the interpreter left the classroom, everyone in the class had to develop some patience in addition to their language skills.
It's hard for both, actually, the students and me, because we're all both new to it.
But now the conversation is more comfortable, and some students even want to pursue a future with ASL.
I'm hoping to be an interpreter because I firmly believe in bringing people together, and language barriers should not be a thing.
And even though the classroom is silent, students have found ways to connect with their teacher.
She surprised me. She's a good teacher, and I asked about her, and I heard she got her master's degree over the summer, which is amazing. And it honestly pushed me a lot to keep going. I was like, if she can do it, I can do it.
And Abeta is pushing forward too.
But, supposedly in the future, if there's an ASL 2 or an ASL 3 class where it's more advanced and they get used to the structure of the class, they will be less nervous and probably be able to talk less and then be able to learn more.
More than 82,000 people in Arizona have a hearing disability, and that is why advocates say ASL is making a difference.
The transition from serving our country to civilian life can be a hard one for some veterans. Cronkite News reporter Monica Sampson shows us where veterans will use art as a tool for rehabilitation.
Good, it's fun. I'm trying something new.
That's Sergeant Kellyanne Beck, a veteran who's taking part in the Mesa Art Center's Arts for Veterans program. She's joined by fellow veterans for a day of art.
Today I'm screen printing it, and I'm hoping I can be a little more creative.
Staff Sergeant Drew Trojanowski served multiple combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan and said he found arts were the most helpful in learning to find himself again.
Doing these things reminds you that you can do whatever it is that you desire. You can build, you can craft, you can create, you can do any of those things.
This program was started in collaboration with the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. The main goal of this program is to give those who serve a chance to have both a creative and a social outlet as they transition back into their civilian lives. This program isn't just being taken by veterans, it's taught by one too. Instructor Ron Brimrose, a Marine Corps veteran, sees how art directly affects the rehabilitation process.
Whether it's inking a plate and working up a monotype or drawing or painting, I'm nowhere else. And that in itself, no matter what your situation, is pretty therapeutic.
Even though she doubted her skills,
I get a little bit nervous doing anything like drawing or screen printing or coloring even.
That changed when her work came to life. Sergeant Trojanowski opened up about how finding the arts allowed him to transition into civilian life again.
It is liberating to a degree, not to be cliche, but it is incredibly liberating to be able to do what it is that you want to do.
This program will be offered in the spring at the Mesa Art Center with no cost to the veteran community, thanks to a grant. In Mesa, Monica Sampson, Cronkite News.
Now here's an @Cronkite News pick of the week, a favorite from the Cronkite News staff.
A local company is giving old clothes new life as punching bags, insulation, and boxes. Cronkite News reporter Tatum Hubble went to Phoenix Fibers to find out how they keep clothes out of Arizona landfills.
The average American throws away 70 pounds of clothing every year, but those clothes you toss aside are being turned into products like insulation for your home and the beanbag you sit in at Phoenix Fibers.
The raw materials that we get primarily are post-consumer or old blue jeans. In a typical month, for example, we'll receive over 600,000 pairs of jeans.
Phoenix Fibers president Todd Graham says the company diverts jeans from landfills by collecting them from donation centers and from retailers.
Each of these bales contain 500 pairs of jeans, and Phoenix Fibers creates 2,500 bales a month.
According to the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, at least 50 tons of textiles were recycled last year.
It helps our community out, and it helps people that are in other parts of the world as well. And it keeps it out of our landfills. And we've got landfills. We don't want to build more landfills. We'd rather have more products.
Phoenix Fibers also works with schools, churches, and local charities to raise money through clothing drives to support recycling. In Chandler, Tatum Hubble, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News tracks your likes, tweets, and shares from all our social sites to bring you this special at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh. Join the conversation so you choose the news. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org for top Arizona stories anytime.